Do you constantly feel misunderstood by others? Maybe it has nothing to do with your personality, and more so how you think, how you connect dots. And you need to be understood by people who will never understand you. If you're someone who thinks in patterns and has felt like an outcast all of your life, this video is for you. By the end, you'll understand why and hopefully free yourself of this burden. I'm Dr. Princess, PharmD. Let's get into it. Reason number 1, you think in patterns. In a world filled with linear thinkers, you are an anomaly because you just don't listen to words. You're thinking about the context behind it, combining patterns over years, time, experiences, and simultaneously drawing insights, putting things together and finding a meaning and solution behind them. So while someone is sitting there just mentioning their problems, you're already thinking of ways to solve them. And that's a problem because majority of the world do not think like you. According to NASA's longitudinal study, about 3 to 5% of the world population are neurodivergent thinkers. I recently was having a conversation with my sister. She was telling me about a problem. And while she was speaking, my brain was already doing what it did most, connecting the dots and trying to find a solution. So I offered one. She kept talking. I offered another one. She kept talking, and I offered yet another one. And it got to the point I asked in frustration, are you actually seeking a solution or do you just want to vent? She got offended and said, I just wanted you to listen. And I genuinely didn't understand that because that's not how my brain works. I brought this up to my therapist and he said, not everyone wants a solution. For some people, simply just talking through the problem is all they need. I said, what in the hell? Not every conversation is asking for your analysis. Some people just want to vent, and that's okay. If you're an ambitious woman trying to reconnect with parts of yourself you've abandoned in order to survive, I send 1 practical insights every week on healing hidden wounds, rebuilding your confidence, and becoming the woman you always meant to be. You can join below. Reason number 2 is that you expect people to connect dots as easily as you do. And this is the one thing that keeps getting me into trouble. You make connections quickly. Someone tells you A and B, and somehow your brain has already connected it to C and D, and something that happened 5 years ago. So naturally, you assumed everyone followed you there. Newsflash, they didn't. An ex-friend of mine, let's call her Samantha, and by the end of this video, you will understand why she's an ex-friend. Her friend accused her of giving her husband the eye, and then gossiped about it to the friends group. Meanwhile, she was packing this expensive gifts for this woman's housewarming while she casually told me the story. I'm like, Samantha, how are you still friends with this woman? My thoughts is suspecting you is one thing, but then not speaking to you and then gossiping behind your back to the friends group is not only betrayal, but downright childish. To me, the handwriting was already on the wall. I'm cutting you, your husband, and all the friends group off for gossiping behind my back. To her, there were no dots to connect and no punishments to give out. It's amazing what women would do in the name of a friend group, even the toxic ones. Suffice to say, ability to weave patterns is common amongst introverted intuitives and neurodivergents. But with age, I've learned to keep my mouth shut, drink my water, and mind my business. Your biggest problem with being misunderstood is your incessant need to be understood. What a paradox there, but let's break it down. I honestly am still working through this one, no lies. Because for some reason, I seem to live for the need for people to understand me, especially people I care about. The ones I don't, not so much. The syndrome, yes, I call it a syndrome because it's actually a disease, came up at home with some toxic people. I'd explain repeatedly why something they did hurt me and the value of them acknowledging it. I thought if I could explain a little bit more better, that they would understand. But some people can't get it. Some people don't want to get it. And for some, getting it would require detonating their ideal image of themselves. And baby, some people have simply not done that kind of shadow work. So beating your head against the wall over and over again won't solve a thing and won't make them understand you. Remember, refusal to admit their wrongdoing is independent of the worth to be loved. Just go where you're celebrated. As empaths, as people pleasers, which I'm a recovering one, we tend to tie our healing, happiness, even self-image to being understood. I'm here to tell you, it's not that important. It's okay to be misunderstood. It's okay for someone to think that you're a bitch. It's okay for someone to think that you're a whore. I hope you're not. Let them, because no amount of chucking and jiving will change the way people want to see you. If you're looking for deeper support, I offer a limited one-on-one with a few women. You'll find the details below. Number 4 is people misunderstand you because they haven't dealt with their own shadows and their own wounds. Sometimes people misunderstand you because understanding you would require them to understand themselves. And they haven't done that yet. If you've done therapy, shadow work, or just spent years being brutally honest with yourself, you've probably had to look at things you necessarily didn't like. Your insecurities, jealousy, wounds, the ugly stuff that it's really hard to sit and look at. According to Carl Jung, oftentimes when one hasn't dealt with their own issues, they tend to project it in the presence of the liberated ones. This is why confidence is perceived as arrogance, your boundaries called stiffness, and your ambitions become, oh, she thinks she's better than everyone. Sad, but true. Because something about you touched an unresolved part of them. It's like a light on a wound you're trying to hide or a scar you're trying to hide. Delving into one's psyche is a rough business. I mean, Nietzsche was one of the many philosophers who fell mad to it. Being misunderstood isn't always about what you said or didn't say. You may simply have touched an unaddressed part within them. So this is why I can't care too much. Maybe being misunderstood isn't a problem to solve, rather a superpower to leverage. One benefit is you can accept that people don't like you, don't get you, and thus stop editing yourself, which will allow you to express yourself fully, do the things that you want, go where you want, and live the life that you want. The second benefit of being misunderstood and not caring is that it liberates you and gives you the freedom to leave places you're not celebrated. If some people have different values, emotional depth, or simply incompatible as it comes to your principles, or aren't willing to meet you somewhere in the middle, be it family, loved ones, a job, perhaps it's your cue to leave instead of fighting to be understood. Because staying may not only be detrimental to your social life, but also your health. I know this because for many years, I argued for places that I wasn't appreciated, that I wasn't meant to be, and that got me sick. Until I finally said, enough, I'm going to choose me. And that's when everything changed. The final thing is, elderly people tell us all the time as one gets older, they care less. But why couldn't we care less now? Why do we have to wait till our bones are rickety, our eyesights are waning, and our time is shorter? Why do we spend the most youthful moments of our lives worrying, obsessing, beating ourselves up, making being understood a requirement for security and self-validation? You know, early caveman had it right. A perfectly regulated nervous system. If there's a lion in the shrubs, they'll hunt it, they'll kill it, and go back to baseline. We modern humans are different. We obsess over the little things, the likes, what our neighbors think, what our friends think, what our family think. Everything is a worry, everything is a big deal. And we miss out on the juiciness of life, myself included. As a woman like you, who watch me, who's independent, ambitious, emotionally intelligent, and often misunderstood, you know that you're meant for more. Perhaps you're already living the big life. Perhaps, in addition to all of it, one of the biggest things you can do for yourself in order to truly live out your life in peace is to be okay with being misunderstood. If this video resonated with you, I created a free Ambitious Woman Recovery Guide. It's a short exercise designed to help ambitious women reconnect with parts of yourself you've abandoned in order to survive. Download it below. I'm Dr. Princess. I'll see you next time.